rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're generally being broadcast live, but I'm not sure on one like this today, but I'm sure we'll at 6. Let's see. Where am I at now? Roll call. Clerk Wright, could you call the roll?
Trustee Kelly. He's on his way, you say? No, he's gone.
He's on his way, and then
Trustee
he's going to
Boyden?
leave early.
Absent and
Excused.
and absent. Trustee Martin?
Here.
Trustee Frazier? Here. Clerk Wright is present. Treasurer Bud is excused. Supervisor?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. Executive summary of the meeting is we will begin today with a closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268E to consult with our attorney regarding a trial or settlement in connection with a specific pending litigation. The consult agenda does not have to do with the data center if anybody wants to know. The consent, which would be illegal because we would have to state that. The consent agenda includes board meeting minutes, prepaid lists, voucher lists, pretty much paying our everyday bills. New business includes discussion on a resolution for long-term maintenance of a stormwater management system, which is required at 6060 Schooner Drive. Discussion on a drain crossing agreement with Wayne County and sheets for water main easements across a county drain. That's all we have, and then we're going to do a public comment period. We're going to adjourn. We're going to recess the meeting after we complete all of that till 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we will re-adjourn to hear public comment. So can I continue then with adoption of the agenda? Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
To the chair,
Kevin,
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as published.
thank you.
Support.
Okay, I've got a motion by Trustee Martin, supported by Clerk Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is I have to get a motion to go into a closed session. Can I get a motion, Clerk?
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
I have a second by Trustee Kelly.
Kelly's here.
Yes, quiet. Wait, I gotta have a roll call on going into closed session, don't I? Do a
Think
roll
so,
call.
Yeah. Trustee Kelly?
Yes.
Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier? Trustee Boyden is absent and excused. Clerk Wright is present. Did I say trustee? You said yes?
No, I'll say yes.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Treasurer Bud is absent and excused.
This motion
Motion passed.
passes. We are now going into closed session. We will be back after we do our business. go straight to your motion? Clerk Wright, would you like to make a motion?
Well, let's do the consent agenda.
All right.
Or close, yeah, consent agenda first.
Okay, can I get a motion to do the consent agenda and please read it? Trustee Boynton?
Okay, the consent agenda. I move that we accept the following. Board meeting minutes of December 2nd, the prepaid list of December 4th and December 11th, and the voucher list of December 16th, all of 2025.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a second support from Trustee Martin. Here, I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Today, we have no public hearing, correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Just a real quick thing first of all, Merry Christmas. Secondly, we are being broadcast live over YouTube TV since there's more people in here now. Third of all, we did have some end-of-year things that we had to clean up. We understand that Facebook has reported that we will be taking public comments. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our meeting in its entirety to the public comment section. And then we're going to go into recess until 6 o'clock to make sure that everybody that wants to have public comment can have public comment, and you didn't have to wait around for us to do what we've been doing for the last 40 minutes, which is take care of end-of-year business. So everybody knows that they haven't missed anything. So does anybody else have any announcements or presentations? No?
No announcement, no.
Okay. All right. So the first order of business is public comment that is only for business that's before. You can't hear? Okay. Is there any public comment on today's business, which is not the data center? We'll do that later. Any public comment on today's business?
Is it on?
I'm sorry, maybe I turn it on. Okay. We're moving on to new business. The first order is to consider approval of a resolution for long-term maintenance of the stormwater management system at JSB Builders. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Clerk Wright?
Sound like it can be heard, but,
I don't hear it either. It's, no.
No, I don't either.
1, 2. Mine's working.
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of resolution 2025-38, a resolution for the long-term maintenance of a stormwater management system at JSB Builders Incorporated, 6060 Schooner Drive.
Support.
Okay, I've got a motion and I got support. The stormwater maintenance management system is required by Wayne County to make sure that they don't maintain their stormwater maintenance system, that the county can go in and force them to do it and force the township to do it, and that's what this is about. I got a motion and I've got a second. It's pretty much something we just do on every one of them. I've got a motion, I've got a second. Hearing no further, does anybody have any comment on this? Thank you. All right, hearing no further comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This motion passes. The next order is to consider approval of a drain crossing agreement with Wayne County and Sheets. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair, I move that we approve of the drain crossing agreements with Wayne County and Sheets for water main easements across county drains.
Can I get a second?
Chair, I second.
Trustee Frazier? Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second. Is there anybody who wants to talk about it? Because it's basically, they've got to put a water main across the road. Okay, and they're going to pay for it. I've got a motion, I've got a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Clerk Wright, could you make a motion on the closed session?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to accept the attorney's recommendation regarding settlement strategy with Pacific pending litigation.
I've got a motion and I've got a second. This is just insurance litigation that was longstanding. Hearing no further comments, can I, what?
Roll call on this.
Roll call. Clerk Wright, could you call the roll on this?
Trustee Kelly?
Yes.
Trustee Boynton? Yes. Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier? Yes. Treasurer Bud is absent and excused. Yes for me, Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We have no reports today. This was pretty much a clearinghouse for the end of the year meeting. We are going to go into recess now until 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we'll accept public comment on any issues that anybody wants to bring up. So can I get a motion to go into recess?
So moved.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are in recess till 6. We'll hear you, but that's it. Everybody here? Yeah. Need a motion to come out of recess? Yep. Okay. Can I get a motion to come out of recess?
So moved.
Sup- I have a motion, I have support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are out of recess. We are now in the public comment period of the meeting. We are, of course, being broadcast live over Van Buren Television. We're being broadcast on YouTube TV. This public comment has been called because of concerns over the data center. We have always been as open as possible on everything we do here. And I just want to give everybody an update of where we are and what the problems are and what the situation is, okay? So that you completely understand our position and you can help us with your position. We will be putting up a frequently asked questions on our website. This process for permitting this site has just begun. It started quite a while ago. This property's been for sale for 20 years. It was originally going to be the Detroit Tigers. When they suddenly at the last minute were able to put together enough room to build Tiger Stadium in Detroit, this property became available, and the owner of this property has been trying to sell the property for 20-some years. He's come to us with a dozen different reasons why he should be able to sell it to somebody, and each one of those has had a zoning problem that was legal that allowed us basically to say we didn't want it, and we didn't have to take it because it had a legal issue. The state has zoning laws, and you can ask anybody here and anybody that's talked to me about zoning laws. I hate zoning laws. I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. They're made up by people that were 40, 50 years ago. They decided where things were going to go and where they weren't going to go, how things were going to be done. It just seems like every single time we have a problem like this one, it's because we are stuck with these zoning laws and decisions that were made years ago when we didn't think about things like that. Martinsville Road is an industrial district. There's not an industrial area around there. They're homes. But somebody said it was going to be an industrial district. That's important to remember because the zoning laws in the state of Michigan say that we have to have a legal reason to deny somebody something. I'm going to give a short history on the site. Van Buren was approached to build a series of warehouses on that site. The developer Panattoni came to us about that. It is a legal right for that site to be warehouses. We requested, and they agreed, to meet with the surrounding neighborhoods, including the Haggerty Sub. We sent out postcards to them. They met with Panattoni about the warehouses. We don't like warehouses because warehouses are trucking, and we are tired of trucking in Van Buren Township. Our infrastructure just is getting beat up by this stuff. So at any rate, they came and they had speculative buildings. Speculative means they're going to build a building and they're going to look for a tenant while they build the building. So we had basically agreed, instead of 40-foot setbacks, they'd have 250-foot setbacks to protect Haggerty Sub. They put in a sidewalk. They would put in a 15-foot high berm. They put in 10-foot high trees. They would not have any access from Haggerty Road. They would only access the site from I-94 to try and keep the trucking off Haggerty Road. A month or two ago, they came back and said, we have a person to take over the buildings, to move into the buildings. It's a data center. It's named in the zoning for that location. We then looked at each other and thought, we don't know what data centers are nowadays. We were hearing some bad things about them, but it was a named use. We immediately said, no, you've got to go back to the locals and you've got to have a informational meeting so that they know what the heck you're bringing in here, because we have a process, and part of that process, which we've gotten awards for and we've gotten certified, and we're one of only a dozen communities in the state of Michigan that insists that we have these informational meetings and put that out there. We're very upfront with what we do here. So they did that, and you guys saw what happened Thursday, last week, I think it was. And we've packed the house with people that did not want a data center for 100 different reasons. And I'm going to go through some of those things. By our law, by Van Buren's rule, data centers and warehouses are the same pretty much thing by our zoning ordinance. So if they have a warehouse and they have something that's unusual on there and it requires a special exemption, then it goes to a vote of the Board of the Planning Commission, then it goes to a vote of the Board of Trustees. Because it's a named use, it only goes to the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission would make the decision, the Board of Trustees wouldn't even have a decision on it. I will add to this that Celine thought that they could have a no vote and just make them go away. It took a whole 1 week for the courts to basically shove it back in their face and say, no, you've got to approve that thing or you're up for millions of dollars in damages. Celine had to go into closed session and accept an attorney opinion that basically they ended up voting for it in a back room to allow it because they were stuck. They were absolutely stuck. They did not have a legal reason to do it, and I don't know that anybody's going to sue us, but I do know that the guy's been trying to sell that property for 20 years, and if we have it's called a taking, if we take away his right to sell to a named thing. But let's go through what you can do. Let's go through some of the major things. First of all, the power. I wrote this thing out. It is decided by the state. The power is decided by the state and the company. They're going to need to go to the State of Michigan Public Service Commission, and they're going to have to get a permit or whatever they call it. They're going to have to get permission from the State of Michigan to use power. Their power is not going to be on our grid. They're going to have a separate line. It's encased in concrete. Underneath ITC, there's this massive electrical line. They're going to tie directly into that line and form their own power grid. So they're not going to be on our grid, so we really don't get a chance to even discuss it because it's not on our grid. It's going to have to, it is something that they have to get permitted to do by the state of Michigan. The wildlife and wetlands is another issue. That is not our issue because we don't have a say in it. Eagle has the say in it. They have taken their buildings and they've spread their buildings out pretty far and haphazard looking. They're 250 feet off Haggerty Road. They're 850 feet off I-94. They're 450 feet off Hannon Road. And they have a winding road through there. And the reason they did that was to avoid as much wetlands as possible and leave the trees there too. They're going to have to go to Eagle, and they are going to have to get a permit because they will affect some wetlands on there. So Eagle will have to give them a permit, okay? Water. Van Buren Township does have rules about water. We do not allow any company, we don't even allow residents unless they don't have water, to access our aquifers. They cannot. That is illegal. That is a reason that Van Buren could deny a zoning request, is if they tried to take water out of our aquifer. They're going to have to get it from Great Lakes Water. Great Lakes Water has already expressed that they have more than enough capacity. They built that system for 2 to 3 million people in Wayne County, and there's only 1.5 million. They have massive amounts of excess quantity, but they are going to need to get a permission from the Great Lakes Water Authority, which is the 43 communities or so that comprise that. So they're going to have to approve the use of whatever amount of water they use. And I don't know how much it is. I've heard 3 million, but I've heard that it's going to be considerably less than that. Discharge. They take in Great Lakes water, they run it through their computers, and then they dispose of it into the sanitary sewer. They are not allowed to, without a vote of the board, they're not allowed to put it into any waterway, ditch, river, lake, or anything. We did have discussions about that in the idea that we could fix up Belleville Lake if they wanted to dump tap water into it. It was obvious that there was a mixed feeling on the lake about doing that. So we are walking away from that. That is not going to be, those people had to decide as a whole that they wanted it or didn't want it, and there's enough of them that don't want it that we're not going into that fight. They're not going to be able to do it. They're going to have to use the sanitary sewer. They're proposing up to 750,000 gallons per day of discharge of the Great Lakes water that they're going to run through into this thing. It's going to go to South Huron Valley Utility Authority. The South Huron Valley Utility Authority must give them a permit. So they have to go to them to get a permit. So you got the state, they got to get a permit. They got to get a permit from Eagle. They got to get a permit for power. They got to get a permit for the wetlands, for the wildlife. And when I say wildlife, if there's an eagle out there, they might have a problem. If there's a striped snail, I don't know, they could have a problem. We had problems with the Denton Road Bridge because there was a little itty-bitty plant this big that was endangered. Those are things that could literally stop this project. Moving forward, though, there is no infrastructure for Van Buren to build here. They're putting themselves right on systems that, one, we have 1.8 million gallons capacity of discharge in that location, and they're asking for 750. They're asking for water. There's a 36-inch water main coming off DWSD right there. The only thing we would build as Van Buren residents is we would build metering pits. These metering pits would measure how much water they were using and measure how much water they were discharging to make sure that they're compliant to what they said they were going to do, and also to bill them for any of those things. All right. Sound. This is one big one because we don't know about sound. We have a rule here in zoning that says that they cannot have more than 67 decibels at their perimeter of sound. We have been told that it's far less than 67 by the company and the developer. We cannot prove that at this time. We are going to drive all over the Midwest with engineers and decibel meters, and we are going to do sound studies. And if we find that these sites have greater than 67 decibels, we have a legal reason that we can stop the development. But we have to find that that's true. We also will request a sound study from the developer and the company. Again, without a legal reason, we are leaving ourselves open for millions of dollars in lawsuits, and I don't know if anybody's here from the Vistion group. That killed us. I mean, we went 10, 12 years. We have the oldest police cars in town. We have a dispatch system was pretty much looking like Mayberry RFD. We had our fire trucks didn't work. They were 15, 18 years old. They're all new now. Everything's been upgraded. We've got as modern fire department and police department and dispatch as anybody in the state. In fact, probably more modern if you add in all the other things we've got. But the board would make a decision, but I personally would not put us into that kind of multi-million-dollar jeopardy. So if there is a legal reason, then yeah, we've got some argument here. Pollution, it runs completely off electrical. There are generators on the site. And if we can show where the generators do create pollution, then there is an argument. We are going to have engineers do studies on these generators to find out what they emit. They're supposedly only will run during power outages, and that the power supply is 100% from the system. There's no discharge to groundwater. There's no discharge to any of our lakes or streams. So I don't know that there's any real movement on that scope. Having said that, you probably can understand the conundrum we're in over on our side of the board. We're happy to listen to you. We're happy to do what we can. We're going to tell you everything. We're going to be upfront, and we're going to try and deal with this as a community. But we've got our rules and laws that we've got to live by. We can't do anything else but live by those laws. So ending that, does anybody want to say anything before we start? Or just want to get right into this? No? Okay. Anybody that wants to come up and speak is welcome to speak. Again, we're going to set the timer at 3 minutes, and that's only because we have so many people. Otherwise, we'd be happy to continue talking as long as you'd want. They can always call my office, and I call back everybody. So, all right. Except for one person had an ice problem today because I was calling all around the country to find out about data centers. So, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra McDonald. I'm a longtime resident of Van Buren Township. So what I gather, basically what you're saying is that we have no recourse. The other concern that I have is you said that it was zoned and as a warehouse and that a data center can get there. So we need to speak with zoning and have that changed. If that's the case, if this is a data center and warehouse equates to a data center, what else does that equate to? If you say a warehouse, what's next? Because this AI stuff is new, and this is what they want to put in that area. So we need to be clear with the zoning board when they define warehouse and what that encompasses, what can go in as a warehouse. Because to say that the zoning board or commission approved that in a warehouse, again, this AI stuff is new. So how does that become a part of our community? I hear what you're saying, and I understand about the lawsuits, but we need more. What are you guys doing? What attorneys are representing us? What attorneys can give us some information to say, this is what we can stand on and this is what we can fight for?
I can answer those because I should have answered them originally. We do have attorneys and we do have engineers that are working on this, okay? And I should talk about the data center, why it was zoned data center. We have the largest data center currently in the state of Michigan, in Van Buren, and it's at the JP Morgan Chase Bank. It is about the same size as the largest building that the company, I'm not supposed to look, I've got an NDA, but the only thing that NDA says is I can't say the name of the company. Everything else I can say. There's nothing else that I can't. I can. So when we were looking at this 2 years ago, we liked data centers at that time. 2 years ago, I mean, drive by JP Morgan Chase, drive by US Signal, you can't hear them. They're beautiful, they're quiet, they have no traffic, they have no trucks. Gosh, I wish every business was like that. In the last 2 years, I don't know what the hell happened, but in fact, up until 2 months ago, I never heard of a hyper data center. And I don't think anybody else probably ever heard of a hyper data center until a couple months ago. These things are new animals. In fact, I've been calling around the country to talk to people that are, supervisors and mayors in other communities that have got these, and they all tell me, oh, how great they are and all this other stuff. And I say, well, can you hear them? Oh, they haven't built it yet. I can't find anybody that's got one that's built that'll talk to me. They're all being built, so they're just such new animals. So at the time, we thought a data center was a JP Morgan Chase bank. And so we thought it would be in industrial would be a good spot for it. And we did bring it out to the public, and we had workshops, numerous workshops. We had surveys. We had we even went out to schools and stuff like that and asked them what they wanted to see in their community. And this was one of the things that they thought was a good idea in an industrial area. Now, I'm going to add, you're right, we need to revisit this, but you can't, once they're in the queue, once they've come to you, you can't retroactively go back, but you can go forward, such as we got 2 gas stations on Ecorse and Haggerty Road, and the third one is trying to come in. We put a moratorium on gas stations in Van Buren Township. I can guarantee you that this board will probably, I can guarantee you that this board would probably vote, if we got a vote out, to have a moratorium on data centers until we understand them better. But that doesn't mean you can stop the one that's coming.
And that's the concern.
Yeah.
We need to stop what's coming. And I personally feel that our zoning board is doing a poor job. There's a lot of stuff that come into Van Buren Township that we don't even have the I'm gonna say this because I had a 1.37 more minutes to talk. We have a lot of stuff, before you started talking, because I paid attention. We have a lot of stuff coming into Van Buren Township. We don't have the infrastructure. If you drive down Haggerty or Belleville Road now, it is a nightmare. Van Buren Township don't want to be Cannon plus two. We want to be Van Buren Township. So, again, I said that needs to be revisited. The zoning board needs to pay attention to the residents that live here and change. And if we have to come to a meeting to tell them what we want and don't want, then that needs to be set up for us. But again, Van Buren Township is outgrowing the infrastructure, and it's not fair to us. And they're bringing a lot of unwanted stuff, like the waste management thing there. That's a whole issue. This was good virgin land. Pollutants always want to come and disrupt. So again, I'm here because I am very opposed, and I would like to come back to see what the attorneys say and the zoning board, so that when we move forward, there's a moratorium and we don't continue to have this problem. Thank you.
Whoa,
Since no one is getting up, I have one more thing.
actually,
This is the
I thought
zoning
Rosemary
board.
was getting up.
Okay, the zoning board is terrible. Who thought it was a great idea to put a car wash in front of an urgent care? Think about that.
Classic example of why I hate zoning. Hate it, hate it, hate it. All right, somebody, come on up. I hate it.
Bernard Przondek, and I'm a Van Buren Township resident, lifelong. The presentation, well, I don't want to say presentation, but the message that we got, I'd like to ask a couple of questions about a couple of other things. What's going on in Augusta Township right now regarding a mega data center?
I don't know.
Well, according to Augusta Township, and when you read, and they're our neighbors, they put it in front of percent of their public, their voting base, to put it on for a referendum vote. And apparently, it's called the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, MCL 125.3801, and a Zoning Enabling Act. And it asks for 8% of our registered voters to sign to change zoning and to change the master plan. And that's going up for vote in Augusta Township on May 26th on a special election, or August 26th primary election. So there are alternatives.
We were frantically, what you just said was frantically written down by my municipal services director, and we're going to look into that.
Okay, and then we also have a situation right now, and it's coming up. It's a Michigan, introducing a law in the state of Michigan in Lansing. This is just very recent, a bipartisan vote to repeal data center tax incentives.
Good.
Why are they trying to bust these things out real quick right now? And I mean, it just blows my mind that we've got, the biggest one already here in Van Buren Township. Selene's fighting the one. Fife Lake,
Celine lost.
didn't lose yet. There's been some concessions that have made, but you also you've got, what about Fife Lake? That developer pulled out. He wanted to put in 1,400 acres. That's in Kalkaska County. That was just recent because of the opposition. Howell, that's on hold right now because of, the landowner pulled his application for a zoning change. But I ask, have any of you read an 18-page report published by the University of Michigan titled, "What Happens When Data Centers Come to Town?"
I did today.
So I don't know why we can't have a moratorium now and work on this as a community. It sounds like, by the gestures, it almost looks like you're caving in. But
No. We're grasping at whatever we can.
We are not caving in.
this, and I want to conclude. I have people call me and they ask me, why do I want to move to Van Buren Township? And I tell them, hey, we got a beautiful metro park right in our backyard. And we've got Belleville Lake. And we've got, you know, a long-standing community here with a lot of old families, and we got new families. They say, why do you not want to move to Van Buren Township? Well, we got a real, I mean, one of the most toxic dumps in the country. We got 2 or 3 different landfills, and we got them surrounding us. You know, you might have this, and I agree with you with one thing. I didn't know nothing about a mega data center until a couple days ago. You and I spoke. I had no clue what these are, but now that I'm reading a little bit, it's like, you know, let's not be held up for hostage because we're afraid of a litigation suit. You know, I mean, let's do the thing we got to do and knock this thing out. We don't need it.
We're not.
So, you know, that's, you know, we need to look at what's going on in Augusta Township.
Let me shut up.
Thank you.
Anybody else, come on up, and I do know that we will look at what he said about Augusta Township.
There's 23 people online that can't hear, they'd like to hear, they couldn't be here in person, but they'd like to hear, we need to find a way to get the volume up.
Up?
23 other people, and who knows how many are in their homes, can't participate fully.
Well, I can ask her to turn it up, but I'm not sure how that works out. Could somebody go back to the control room, please? Thank you, Brad. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
My name's Cassandra Moore. I live in the Haggerty Road subdivision, and today, on behalf of the Haggerty Road subdivision, I went to the Capitol to the rally against these mega data centers. I listened to so many amazing people. When I left the meeting last Tuesday, I was in tears. I drove from here to home in absolute tears, feeling defeated. But today showed me so many communities like Augusta Township, Howell, Kalkaska, Saline, Ipsy. There are so many communities going through exactly what this, like what we are being subjected to, and they are fighting. They're not giving up. So please don't leave this meeting how I left last week's. Please feel inspired because this is not for our community. These mega corporations and mega billionaires do not have our interests at heart at all. DTE is lining the pockets of these billionaires, like not millionaires, not attainable wealth. These are billionaires who do not care about us. They do not care about the water I drink, the air I breathe, the soil I plant my garden in, the birds I watch every day. Will all be taken away from me because of the loud data. Like truly, these data centers are so loud. The best example I can think of is what is happening in Memphis, Tennessee right now. These people are sick.
Memphis.
They are dying. These data centers will kill us. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to hold your hand and tell you the truth. This is detrimental to humans. I don't know who is going into this data center. Sounds like there's an NDA regarding that information
Not really, no.
about the
Just
company
which-
taking.
I can't say which company it is, but we're allowed to go to their data centers. They're going to allow us to go to their data centers. They wanted to pay for it, but we're not going to let them pay for it. We're going to go on our own.
I'm not saying companies are our friends, but what friend makes you sign an NDA to protect them?
State of Michigan. We sign
There's a
NDAs,
problem.
state of Michigan signs NDAs because 90% of these things have a poison pill in them. There's something in there, such as if they're loud, over 67 decibels, that's a poison pill. That can kill the deal immediately. So they want to know, is there that poison pill up front? And when they ran through our stuff, like I just ran through with you, they checked every box. Suddenly they knew that they had a shot at getting in.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing the information as well. You said the Eagle Wildlife, the wetlands, there's so many permits that these companies still need. You have the power. Like, I hate that my back is even to you all because this is who I care about. These people work for us, not the other way around. Like, please, you have the power to use your phone and email these people, call these people, please.
These
Like-
people live here too.
The people I met last week, Tuesday, do
No.
not live here.
I'm saying that we're talking about having your back to those folks, and those
No,
folks is
no.
who you care about.
Don,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
not what
that's
she
not what
meant.
I'm saying.
That's what she meant. She's talking about something else. Sorry, go on, please.
Regardless, I can't give you all the data about the water usage, the gigawatts, everything. But this is our community, and don't let these data companies take from our community. It is so important to me. That is all.
Okay, thank you.
You ask them to write their name in, because Rosemary wants to spell their name right for the quota and stuff.
If you'd like to write your name on that piece of paper, Rosemary was wondering if she could put it in the paper, but it's up to you.
Thank you. Thank you, board, for your time. I won't address the DTE rates because although what you said earlier to start this meeting, it conflicts with what DTE was telling us on Thursday night. They were showing us a pie chart and saying, this is how much residents use now. Once the data center comes in, this is how much they will use.
Them and
So that was
statewide,
confusing.
they believe the data centers will pick up a larger, there's a state law that says that residential customers cannot, what's the word, supplement?
Subsidized.
Subsidized, thank you. The residential customers cannot subsidize data centers, either their day-to-day rates or the increase of power that's required by the state of Michigan.
Okay, well, so a couple of
They
things.
met.
The tax break legislation was put into effect in Michigan before any regulations were put into effect to protect residents from these mega data centers. 18 months ago, when the residents chose the lesser of two evils, it was not presented as an AI data center. And that is the big issue here, is that we don't have a lot of information about these AI data centers. And a year ago, the 1 gigawatt data centers that were trying to come into place in the country had to be halted because there were issues that came up in just physically creating them. So that was just 1 year ago. I don't see how regulations could have caught up in time for us to have safety in the creation of that, but in the execution and the day-to-day running of them. So the whole idea of utility customers being protected from subsidizing the cost of data centers, it doesn't mention a protection from the costs added to residents in order to upgrade the grid. Now, if you are not aware of the Colossus Elon Musk data center in Memphis, that is the one that you would probably want to go and do your research as in terms of your sound pollution and all of that research that you want to do. That data center, he said, would only use 150 megawatts. Ours is saying 1 gigawatt. So that is 6.6 times what this data center would end up needing to use. Elon Musk, without permits, has set up 35 gas-powered turbines on his property and is currently using 33 of those gas-powered turbines constantly. So although this project has said we will have backup generators on site only to use in power outages, how can we trust their word? The community in Memphis had to use thermal photography in order to prove that they had lied and said, yes, they're using 33 turbines constantly. So that's air pollution, and we already have these methane air pollution that we can all smell, especially in the winter. So adding that air pollution under concealment, under cloak, is very untrustworthy. So that is some information that I can share with you in terms of research that I've done about AI data centers. The Elon Musk data center is up and running. It's an AI data center, so that's a perfect one for you to get some research from, do some testing of what you were saying that you were gonna do, especially, but then you have to give in to the fact that it's 6.6 times what the one that is going to supposedly come into our community. That's half a mile away from many people who live in Haggerty Sub. That's where I live with my kids, a lot of elderly people, a lot of children. The negative effects that people are having physically with their health at a data center that is 6.6 times less than what is being proposed to come into our community. Do we have any idea what we're inviting here? We don't, and that is the scary part. That's the part that's frightening to many people. Most of our residents here don't want this to come in. I hope that you don't want it to come in, despite the dollar signs that might be enticing you.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
about dollar signs right now. About the dollar signs, real quickly, the board here pretty much has stopped almost every development that we didn't like because we don't need the money, we're fine. We have the lowest taxes right now in Wayne County, we're lower taxes than anybody around us, and we function fine right now. We don't need to be Canton, we don't need the business, we don't want trucking, we try to hold all of that stuff out. This isn't about us wanting money. We're not looking to bring this in. We're not looking for the warehouses. We're not looking for the data center. We just as soon leave it green ourselves. But it is what it is. And we're going to keep on going. Go ahead.
If there's no benefit to us, we're clearly saying there's no benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Then why are you're acting like you have no? I'm like a victim in this situation. Like these people just came in. I can't do anything about it. That makes no sense. And honestly, like on behalf of us, like we're telling you, my wife just gave you information. What's it, the size of Chicago? So like the amount of electricity needed, that's how much they're trying to put in this place. This is crazy. Like this is crazy. And that you guys are sitting up here, like you have no say in any of it.
We do. But the process just began.
Excuse me, you just said like we'd rather leave it green. Amen. Let's leave it green. Like seriously, I don't understand. And the only thing I can go to is there's money involved. Honestly, that's the only thing I can go to. Because clearly, if we're going to take the hit on it, which we will with water, with electricity, we're paying for that. What is going on? How would it even entice you in any other way besides that there's money involved? So that's all I have to say. It's a question.
Sure.
I just want to say, to say something regarding what you just said. No money is involved in anything. Business is, like the supervisor say, it's the law. We are following the law. The law has been set up by previous legislators to set that we are following. Now, we can't check, like I just made this statement to someone earlier today. You can't change the past, but you can change the future. Now, things we're listening to you and what you're saying right now. If some of these things can be done, we're taking all that in heed. But we can't break the law. We're not going to start a multi-million-dollar lawsuit because we don't like what they're doing. Because you can't. It's like you wouldn't want to be pulled over tonight going home for something that you didn't do. It's the law. We have to follow the law. And if we find a loophole that discourages, that says something that they supposed to be doing, that they're not doing according to the law, we will stop it.
We're getting ideas. I mean, we didn't know the Augusta thing. We're going to look into that. We're going to look into the Memphis thing. We're taking what you're saying and we're writing them down in the back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For no reason at all, I just want to mention that these men up here, they all ran and won uncontested a year ago. Just in case you were unaware. No reason at all I'm saying that.
What does that mean?
So I just have a couple questions. One is, just because I'm ignorant to the fact, when did it get rezoned to M1?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So when are they the
2 years
ones?
ago, we didn't have data
Are they
centers
the ones
in.
that pushed for the rezoning?
No.
did?
Data centers were becoming something that people had to put into their zoning ordinance. If you didn't put it into your zoning ordinance, then they could assume that they would go into whatever anybody else wanted it. So you have to basically
But
put
before
it
it
in.
was like, I heard it was like C2, and at some point, I think it was agricultural.
It wasn't anything.
It was nothing? It had zero
yeah.
zoning?
That site? That site's always been industrial, yeah.
No?
But data centers weren't. Data centers weren't named. And if you
You
don't
sure it's
name
always been
something,
M1?
then they can try and, yeah.
Okay.
They literally Tiger Stadium was going there.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. And right now, we have no expectations of like annual revenue from taxes?
Actually, we do not. I have a level 4 assessor, but we have not had time to assess what the tax situation was.
Would there be any possibility, if we can't stop this, putting that tax revenue towards medical bills for people in the area who come up with rare cancers and asthma, you know, some sort of fund to protect the citizens that are going to be harmed from this.
I assure you that lawyers would be all over that if that started happening.
Okay. Another question is, do you guys know very much about the water usage? If it is going to be a closed loop, because we've heard conflicting reports too. Some people have said that
I want to.
they will respect the Edison Lake residents and not dump the 3 million daily. Other reports are that, you know, it might be a closed loop, but, you know, I've heard that they also said that they are gonna, like, as of last Thursday, someone said, you said that they were gonna dump 3 million daily. So it's hard when we're not getting clear answers.
No, we did go to Edison Lake and Belleville Lakes and asked them if they wanted to allow that to happen, because it's tap water. They got tap water coming in, tap water going out. They don't use additives on the cooling. So the idea was if they did dump, then they would adopt, not adopt, but they would pay to improve the oxygen levels, stock the fish, get rid of the weeds, go after the invasive species, dredge Edison Lake. They said they would be interested in that only if Edison Lake and Belleville Lake people wanted it. Some on Edison Lake wanted it, some on Edison Lake didn't want it. Belleville Lake was a little more open to it, but Edison was the input, and we had enough people that didn't want it. Probably wasn't even a majority, but there was enough people. We're not going to get involved in it. We're staying out of it. They're going to dump it into their sewer system, and it's going to go get treated just like any other water, which is water. So it's not happening. We were looking out after the residents. We were trying to figure out a way to solve another problem. Okay. Who's next? Ashley, oh, no, sorry. Okay.
My name's Mona Norton. I live on McKinley Street in Haggerty Sub. I've lived here since the 70s. I've had a lot of issues with seeing things that go on in this township, but this takes the cake. And I believe that there is money involved. You can tell me there's not, I'm never going to believe it. Because who in their right mind that lives in this area would want this for their tax-paying residents? Who? I wouldn't. You couldn't buy me off for it. Something's happening here. It truly is. And have you watched, literally, has any of you watched any of the videos, what's going on in Georgia? Have you? At the data centers, have you watched any of the videos?
No. I actually did. I saw the council meetings where they basically put a moratorium.
Where the people's wells that have wells have went dry.
We don't
because
have
the
wells.
water. Yes, I talked to someone at this very place.
Sherry Budd has about the only well in the town, and they're
No.
not using the aquifers. They're not allowed to dump that way.
Here, the last meeting, they were worried because they just bought a place, they're on a well. They have no access to city water, they live in this area, and they were worried, they have 10 kids. They're concerned about it.
They can come see us.
I don't know who they were just talking about it at the last meeting.
Anybody that's got a well would like to come see us on this, we'd like to talk to them.
And they put off bright lights, they put off a humming sound. It will be able.
Light pollution is a deniable zoning reason. If they have light pollution, we can deny their permit.
Okay, how about the sound, the noise?
That is a definite deniable. If they have over 67 decibels, we can deny their permit.
Once it's there, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if they abandon this place in 10 years? What are you going to do with it?
It'll probably go back to being a warehouse.
You know, there's something wrong here. I care about my community. I'm 75 years old. I've lived here for a lot of years, and I have the ability to move if I want to move. But I'm comfortable here. I take care of my 89-year-old dad at my home that's bedridden. I'm comfortable. I don't want to move. But if this goes through, I'm out of here. And I'm fortunate that I can afford to do that. I bet you over 75% of these people can't afford to do that. They're stuck. They're getting screwed. End of story. And you guys need to look at what you're doing because you were voted in to take these people's needs and their issues at heart, not some multi-billion-dollar complex.
Thank you.
I'm Tracy Osborne, and I live at 10-800 Hannon Road, and I'm the guy with the well and 10 kids. I appreciate you hearing the comments today, and I just want to make just one brief, with all the details about all the different things that can be did or anything like that. The only thing I think about living on that property that backs up to the big building that's going to be there, if that's an air-cooled facility, is the vibration that occurs from that building. Okay, and that would fall under low frequency noise. Okay, and that low frequency noise concerns me. I have a special needs daughter as well, and so with the lower frequency noise, I'm aware that the National Institute of Health has actually done some studies on the lower frequency noise. It cannot be tested by typical decibel meters. It would have to be with specialized equipment. So, and according to the vibration section of our codes, noise means any sound which annoys or disturbs humans, or which causes or tends to cause any adverse psychological or physiological effect on humans. Section 42-125 says vibration. Shall be unlawful to operate or to permit or to cause the operation of any device that creates vibration which is above the vibration perception threshold of an individual at or beyond the property of the source. If on private property or at 50 feet from the source, if in a public space or public right of way. For the purpose of this section, the term vibration perception threshold means the minimum ground or structure-borne vibrational motion necessary to cause a reasonable person to be aware of the vibration by such direct means as, but not limited to, sensation by touch or visual observation of moving objects. So this is something that concerns me, as well as the well issue. So when they start moving ground, there's aquifers that could be moved that could affect my water source as well. So I just want you to take that in consideration as well. So thank you.
Could you see that guy in the blue? Could you give him your name and address and phone number? Because that's an issue that I did not know about. Yep.
All right, I had something really prepared, and I am glad that you tried to address the various issues that come into mind that we've all brought up. So good evening, my name is Ashley Shukite. I live in the Haggerty sub and have lived in this township for 10 years. During that time, I have experienced very little authentic or equitable community engagement from the board. What we have seen instead is performative outreach that prioritizes certain neighborhoods, particularly in this case, the lake community, while others were dismissed, misrepresented, or excluded from decisions that directly affects us. That is not representative government, and we've also seen that with the developers that were here last week when I brought my children, and the senior project director who dismissed my child, who is a child with a disability, and completely cut him down when he was trying to ask a question. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever experienced. For her to be at a previous meeting over a year ago when we asked questions, and for her to dismiss him then, and then to bring up to her friends and colleagues, hey, this is the kid who drew a picture. Yes, the picture said, I can't cross the road, I don't want you here. It was a disgusting highlight how we were told we wanted a data center instead of an industrial complex at that meeting. That's not true. They mentioned administrative buildings. We said, yeah, of course. Nobody knew. I want to speak also as an epidemiologist. It is shown that these hyperscale data centers are linked to an increase in air pollution, higher rates of respiratory and cardiovascular disease, and premature death. Even with a little bit of the diesel backup generators, they still emit fine particulate matter and nitrogen oxides that worsen asthma and chronic lung disease. Our children already have asthma. Go to any school. Half of the class has asthma inhalers. Another addition to this is that these facilities are also requiring large copious amounts of water, even if they say that they're going to drain it somewhere else, my understanding that it was going into the lake as of last week. Her subdivision experiences frequent power outages. You say it's not going to touch that, but I don't know if anybody can feel that they are going to really keep their word on this.
They won't even tell us who they are.
Our subdivision, constantly, anytime anybody does any construction, we have sewer coming up. We have toxic mold around where kids are trying to breathe in their own home and they cannot sell their house now. What is going to happen when a data center comes and they cannot sell? These families are sickened with black mold, all because of our sewer pipes that are not being addressed. So when the township calls itself a premier community, residents deserve to know, premier for who? The residents or corporations? This project does not reflect a commitment to the health, safety, or equity of the people who live here. Another piece I want to point out is when you go to the Eagle website, they have been applying for this for several years now. They've had permits in there. The Eagle's Nest is noted. They have been applying under different pretenses. Eagle has responded. They've met with them. They've met with township officials. All that is in the record and Eagle's site. The other piece, if we are so concerned about not being able to, mitigate a lawsuit or things, when that amendment was written in 2018 in the Planning Commission's documents for that data center, it does not match up to the current data center's definitions, and that may be a legal challenge. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I am going to defend this board on one thing. We protect Haggerty Sub more than any other sub in the state, in this township. It's because it's an entry community and it's important to us. When we got here 10 years ago, the houses were going for $45,000. So now $250,000. We just put another $300,000 in to your park by rebuilding it. We worked on the sidewalks. We spent all the engineering and the oversight and everything else. We only charged for the concrete. We basically funded more than a third of that. We try to protect Haggerty Sub. We're working with the county right now to try and get sections of your roads rebuilt. We believe in Haggerty Sub. We've always tried to help Haggerty Sub. And I'm sorry that you think that way, but it's kind of a key sub to us.
I complaints that how you don't care for it. In my yard, and like I said, I've lived here since the 70s, I have a sewer drain that is in the sidewalk. It breaks up, it gets cold, it gets broken up. I paid out of my pocket twice to have that come in, have it dug out and fixed and reconcreted. The third time, my contractor said, look, I can keep charging you hundreds of dollars to do this over and over and over again. And he said, he took pictures. He said, take them down to the township. I took them to the water department. I had to pitch a fit to get someone to come out and talk to me. The problem was the concrete around the manhole was up so high, it was only this much concrete.
And we fixed that then.
I paid for it twice. You wouldn't fix it till I went to the water department, stood out front and acted like an idiot and threatened to sue. That's when you fix it.
Okay, put this out there to everybody in Van Buren Township. If we have a Van Buren Township sewer manhole in a sidewalk, and that sidewalk is broken or under misrepair in any way, we will replace it at the township's cost.
I have proof that I paid for it twice and the township wouldn't fix it. They told me it was on me twice.
About that, I just,
Maybe
yeah.
you weren't here then, I don't know.
Okay.
And I paid the guy in the back office.
That sidewalk belongs to, that sidewalk section belongs to us, anything that's around the sewer. Okay, so I'm sorry for that.
Did you say, I'm sorry, real quick, did you say the sidewalk belongs to you?
The sidewalk that has a manhole, it's just like you see manholes sometimes that are in the sidewalk section, what they call them a flag, that section of the sidewalk, that's our responsibility. So when we went and did Haggerty Sub, everywhere that there was a manhole or anything that touched that section, we replaced that at no charge.
Okay. Well, yeah, you just kind of made it sound like you guys replaced the sidewalks.
Somebody at the podium.
So, like, the
Okay.
majority of,
All right,
besides the manhole place.
all right, thank you. Thank you, go ahead.
All right. Hi, my name is Courtney Hall, and I live at Bell Point Estates on Ecorse and Belleville Roads. First, I want to acknowledge that the indigenous tribes of this township, the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi, held sacred that life begins and ends with the water. And so we should make reparation of the broken treaties that led to their mass displacement by respecting the water and the land that we are now responsible for. When it comes to AI, the Great Lakes states are being targeted due to our proximity to an abundance of water and because of our climate. This is happening because of the increased need and desire of big tech corporations such as Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, OpenAI, etc., to capitalize off of fueling AI technology and the cloud. Utility monopolies such as DTE and Consumers Energy also stand to profit from powering these centers. And although AI has made some positive impact, especially in medicine with regard to research, medical education, more time for doctor-patient interactions, etc., there are also well-documented negative impacts in medicine and in general. For example, AI replacing humans in some industries has already led to job loss. AI accessibility to our personal data presents real privacy risks. The use of AI technology for mass surveillance, targeting, and mass killing domestically and globally is also a constant point of contention for many activists. The ability of AI algorithms to allow for price fixing for rental rates is adding to an ongoing increase in housing insecurity. AI's lack of human emotion, coupled with societal biases that are built into the AI algorithms, can have devastating effects on marginalized communities, and this data continues to be cemented into more powerful AI that influences healthcare, employment, and insurer decisions. Additionally, we have seen some of the community impact of AI data centers play out in many other states in relation to increased utility bills, loss of water pressure in homes, light and noise and environmental pollution, groundwater degradation, and the list goes on. In Van Buren Township, we are already burdened by a hazardous waste dump that is requesting expansion, radioactive lead in our groundwater, and the Willow Run Airport expansion. So we really cannot afford any more environmental harm. And yes, I realize that we already have a data center here, which provides digital infrastructure for local companies. But Project Cannoli will be hyperscale, and that means massive amounts of energy and water will be required to run the AI for big tech's global operations, and that is the difference. Moving forward, it is very possible that the AI industry will not be sustainable due to the high turnover rate of servers and GPUs every few years, coupled with the need to extract earth minerals to make more. If our corporate citizen happens to flop, will there be community protections written into the contract? I do not support the data centers, but if they are going to eventually come here, we need a moratorium so that we can have more time to obtain ironclad AI, criminal, and civil rights protections in the state. And that's already in progress with House Bills 4667 and 4668. We also need Michigan Power Commission tariffs to be strengthened. I'm also requesting that you establish an AI data center community task force and perform an environmental impact survey if you haven't already, because we can live without data, but we cannot live without clean air, water, and proper regulation. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak? Thank you.
Pretty tough to follow, but I have a few questions. So I know a lot of people who've come up here have already spoken about, and you've already spoken about the fact that we already have one of the largest data centers. Just for comparison, I went on their website, and that data center, the total utility feed is about 2,000 kilowatts, which is about 0.002 gigawatts compared to the 1 gigawatt data center that is being proposed here. So in my mind, that's really comparing a nightlight to the sun. I think the scale of this is what's, I think, even hard to fathom. When you say you're going out to research and look at other data centers in other areas, we've already established that there aren't any this big built yet. So
There are, but they're There are.
So are you going to those specific?
I gotta go to Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess my point is, I think the scale of this is what's, the most concerning. And then on top of that, you spoke on transparency a lot, and I think a lot of people have touched on some key points, but the only point I really wanted to bring up here was that open house last week wasn't even on the Van Buren Township calendar.
I think it was posted. I don't know. I have to challenge you on that. I think it was on the calendar. It was,
I'm gonna.
it may not, wait, hold up. It might not have been on the calendar because we approved the calendar at the first of the year, but it was posted on our website. So things that comes up periodically get posted. Now, the calendar only states things that's already pre-stated for the year. That would go in the calendar. Like, we know we're gonna have a board meeting every 2 weeks. We know we're gonna have a EQ, certain meetings. All those things are posted on the calendar. So that meeting wouldn't be on the calendar, but it would be on our website.
Actually, I will apologize a little bit on this one because this is something that was a mess up. When we found out we had a data center, we wanted to try and get a meeting out there, informational meeting, like we do, because that's what we do. We do informational meetings to let people know. And we got a postcard, and we'd send those postcards out to all the surrounding neighborhoods, and then we'd post it on, I think usually in the newspaper. I'm not sure if it was. Was it in the newspaper? Okay, and then we posted on social media. That thing happened so fast that they forgot to put the name data center on, and they put project. So we did get it out to social media, and quite frankly, must have done a decent job because it got reposted, and a lot of people started screaming, and nobody can say that there wasn't a lot of people in this building. The word did get out, but we didn't do the greatest job. You're right. I'm sorry. It wasn't our finest hour. It wasn't that we were hiding anything. We just were not very good at that one. Okay. But we'll have this meeting every single week if you guys need it, because I'm not hiding anything. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My name is Malia Germain. I'm a resident of Sumter, but our family has owned homes in Haggerty Sub for decades. I'm here to represent your future constituents. Our communities are surrounded by toxic environment. We have a toxic dump. We can't eat the fish or the deer. Our water is poison. Our air is polluted. My child is affected greatly because of the sprays the local farms use, and there's nothing we can do about it because of current legislation. Panattoni has admitted to us they're going to do the bare minimum based on what you say and what the state says. And our kids say that's not enough. And Panattoni, there just isn't enough information. There's no regulations for these new data centers because, as you said, we really don't know about them. And I'm just curious, at what point is enough enough? When do the money grabs end and caring for our people begin?
Now, excuse me, we want to wait for everybody else, and then you can come back up. Does anybody else wish to speak? Come on. Okay.
About a moratorium. How soon will you guys be voting to have a moratorium? Because it needs to be done immediately, not next year, 2026.
So
If
the
you guys need a special.
again, just so you know, the moratorium would not be on this project.
On this project, but
Yeah.
we're talking about future projects because we need to stop this.
Say probably pretty quickly. I mean, we just met with legal, who basically and asked, and we haven't even gotten a formal, yes, you can do it, but we're gonna do it.
Okay, and then I also.
I mean,
looked
I
up-
can't say we're gonna do it, the board has to decide.
And also, I looked up, the facility would use roughly 1 gigawatt of electrical, enough to roughly power 750,000 homes.
So did I just hear you clear that this is a done deal?
Never said that. You heard just the opposite.
You said you were gonna put a stop to future, but you can't to this one.
I can't stop the process. This process is in play.
Can you explain the process?
I did at the beginning.
I must have missed it. I must not be very clear. Could you please help me recall?
Okay, so they're going to go before the Planning Commission, and they're going to review whether or not it fits the current zoning ordinances for us and for the state of Michigan. If it fits those zoning ordinances, they are going to vote whether to approve it or deny it. And that's the end of it.
I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody out there because I don't know your religion and I'm not like categorizing anybody. But I'm supposed to be home enjoying my Christmas tree and making Christmas cookies. And you've screwed up my season. And I'm mad about it. Really, I am mad about it. And I'm trying to control my anger, but it's getting really hard. I heard you fear a lawsuit, but you don't fear these faces. You don't fear these people who are saying you're going to make them sick, you're going to take their livelihood away. You don't fear them. I stand for everybody in this room, not just me on the lake, because I know that it was mentioned that maybe we're privileged on the lake. Good Lord, look at our lake. We can't even use it right now. It's so filled up with, we're on the butt end of it, and it's so filled up you can't use it, right? But I'm saying to you, they can't even tell us whether we're going to get a berm or not, anything to block. You think 94 is like some iron curtain? It's not an iron curtain. We see it. We know it. The traffic's going to come out that way. We're going to see that building from my living room window, and that's why I'm concerned. That's why my mouth is all over Facebook. Monique Kurkowski, you have heard from me, right? So now I want to ask you, are you going to look at these people and say you fear a lawsuit, but you don't fear them? Bring the lawsuit on, sir, because everything I've heard you say is you were ill-prepared, underinformed, you didn't know what was coming your way, and it's too late. You do not make mistakes and don't go back and try to fix them. You fix them as they occur, and you've made a mistake. You've underestimated this community, and you've underestimated what a hyper-scale data center is, and you need to fix it. By whatever means, you need to do that. I'm not saying hold off on the next one. I can't say that darn M word, and I'm not even gonna try on a microphone. You need to hold off on this one. That you got your attorney general trying to tell you that. You got all your protection agencies telling you that. You need to stand firm for this community that's telling you loud and clear, put a stop to it. And for whatever holiday you observe, Merry Christmas to those that are on mine.
I just wanted to add to my last statement. When you say DTE isn't going to increase our utilities, that is a flat-out lie. Check all the other data centers and all the other states, how they do it, they have to keep upgrading. So when they have to upgrade us, and we have to pay the cost for that. This center is not going to pay our utility bills. In Georgia alone, I forget the name of the town, the people that their wells are going dry, their electric bills went from 200 and something a month to almost $600 a month. And they say they can't even retire because of it. And I'm gonna tell you what, I may be 75 years old, I've been here a long time, but I will promise every one of you on this board, if this thing goes through, I will beat the pavement. I will spend every waking minute trying to get you guys out of office.
Thank you.
I promise, jump up here, because I just want to add something. So I noticed that it was mentioned like this farmer or whoever owns this property, 20 years trying to get some money. A, we could have bought that property by now. We could have used it for something else. B, Panettone Group, the township had a relationship with them when they applied for the RFP for Vistion Corp, and they were denied. So
Not that I know.
that one, it's online.
Never
So
heard of it.
they were the development court that lost the RFP. So they already had a relationship, whether you were there, I don't know, I wasn't
Here.
but they already had a relationship with this township. So they're not just like, they came in and swooped and found us. They already had a relationship. They were already here and knew about it.
Panettone is an international corporation. They're huge. I don't know what they did. That's the first I've ever heard.
I never heard that before.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
My name is Lisa Quist. I've been a resident of Van Buren Township for almost 25 years. And, maybe my opinion doesn't count because I'm not a homeowner, but I live in the Trilogy Apartments, which are right across Haggerty.
Renters or residents, they count.
we didn't know anything about this. I went to my apartment management office. They did not know what I was talking about. They had no idea. And this will obviously affect their business because people don't want to live across the street from one of these. And I know I don't. I have numerous health issues. I'm on a fixed income and can't really afford to move. And I don't need any more health issues. And we don't need to introduce continually more health issues, which has been happening with all these other data centers. And I would like to ask each of you where your personal houses are and if they are across the street from this data center. Thank you.
If there are health issues that we can find and prove, that's the reason to stop them. But we don't have that.
Mine's are across the street from me. I live right behind you.
The data to make that statement because they don't really exist, and there is not enough time on the planet to say that you have enough research to guarantee that. I'm telling you, you're making mistakes and you need to own it and you need to stop it.
As part of the due diligence, they had to meet with the Haggerty sub-residents. What about having to meet with the Trilogy apartment residents who are right across the street as well? Could that turn back the clock if they didn't fulfill their necessary obligations to meet with the residents?
That's not a state law, that's a Van Buren rule.
They don't have to. We asked them to.
Yeah, and basically, we made them meet with anybody that was close to them. They got
But they
post
didn't have to meet with them, so can we turn the
every
clock back?
resident supposedly was notified within, I think, a quarter mile. Yeah. It's not that we don't notify the whole township on zoning issues, but we do put it out. It's just,
That could be like, that within that distance, that would be good
yeah.
into looking into.
They
but
should have
especially
gotten
the
something.
corner of those apartments is
They
just
should have
as
gotten
close as
something.
some of those houses.
They should have gotten something. Backing up this thing, they were scheduled to go the first or second week in January before the planning commission, and we've already informed them that we need more time to look at this. So we backed them up to, they want January 20-something, and we've told them, no, it's gonna be February when we're gonna hear their, the planning commission will hear what they've got. Because we want a little more time with this, and we've got some new things to look at too, again. Does anybody wish to speak? Anybody else? Okay. We're getting the same people over and over, so if there's anybody else that has not spoke, please come on up and you can wait in line. No, go ahead, sir. And then we can finish this thing up. Okay?
Going back to
Augusta?
the idea, Augusta
We
Township.
wrote that down.
We're looking for a way out. We want to be able to support you. It sounds like you don't have a lot of confidence, but there is. Give us the direction, assist us, help us with getting this referendum vote on our ballot. That's going to give us the time. Now, I don't know what it is, 8% of the registered voters or current voters now, in the way that I calculate it, from what I read from August of 2024, that sounds like about 5,500 signatures. Registered voters of Van Buren Township. What do we have here? And while I think about this, I think that everybody here, we need to have a piece of paper and let's get a name and an email and a phone number and an address of every participant that's here. And if you have this next week, we're going to come out and we're going to come out and we're going to come out. Again, there's no legislation or no scientific studies. They're here in the state of Michigan for the same reason that Canada likes to dump their garbage here, because per cubic ton, Michigan is on the bottom line of the scale for what other states charge. It's all about dollars and cents. And with this bipartisan, push for this, introducing a bill to eliminate all these big major tax credits on a state level, maybe this, if we had time, maybe this pushes this whole thing away from the state of Michigan. Maybe Michigan does the right thing. And as a previous person said, we are the Great Lakes, but why destroy our environment for something like this? And there's just too many variables. So how do we do this? And one more question, why is there not the availability to do a moratorium now? Is it
State law.
Because it's already been, brought to you? Okay, and that's absolutely certain.
It's a taking, you can't, it's basically called a taking. I don't understand. It's legal. Basically, they're in the queue and we can't do that.
Okay, so, and your attorneys have stated that?
Yes.
Okay. So how do we get assistance with getting something going? Because if, as far as, getting petitions going and having, all these signatures, is that something that you welcome? Is that something that you see? Because
We're doing everything we can do. And we're getting ideas. You gave us an idea. We've got another thing about Memphis that we're going to take a look at. There was a couple other he frantically wrote down back there. We did not have those ideas. The reason we do the planning commission, the system where we actually have those open houses is because every single thing we've ever built around here has been better when the residents got involved with it. I know a lot of people don't like Stellantis, but quite frankly, Stellantis was forced to put in wildlife corridors, and they took down the barbed wire and the fences because of what came out of the residents' input. And it was, all these programs are better because of what we do here. These kind of things.
Just one quick one about, this Belleville Lake, putting in tap water into Belleville Lake, and that's already off the table. But we didn't use the word Huron River. That's also off the table because we do have the Huron River in Van Buren Township. And I will tell you that there is a former business, and I'm not going to name it, but I know people that, are with the Wayne County Water and Sewer Commission. There was a business that had a pipeline that was going straight to the river that was dumping all kinds of toxins, and the way they found it is running red dye. Now, that was many years ago. But
No, they're not going to do that. They've got a good deal right now by sending it right to the wastewater treatment plant, and if they start doing that, then they're going to have to start looking for more permits. And when they have to look for more permits, now they're looking at environmental permits and that would get stopped. I mean, if you got this many people in for an environmental permit to dump into Huron River, they would kill it.
Our prayer here is that, the developer and the prospective company that wants to put in this thing, our prayer is that, they look and they see how much, dissent there is here and opposition, and that they, take the right stance, like what happened up in Fife Lake on a 1,400 acre proposal. They say, hey, we want to be, community. We want to be great in our community, and we want to be friendly with, the community members. Hopefully they just bail and just walk. And if they don't, then we got to do it the right way by put it up for a vote, because we can change the master plan and we can change the zoning on that property. And, but the problem is we need all the time we can to get this going.
Yeah.
So we can't, steamroll this thing through. And maybe the language, data center that's in there, and I get it. I agree with you. Completely didn't know either, but data center, there's a difference between a data center and a hyper turbocharged data center. And that's, where the language of that, maybe you need to figure out a way to get back and, fight it on that, the language of it. I don't know, but we've got a problem here.
Okay. Thank you. This thing up unless, is that a line? Oh, I'm sorry. We are not wrapping up. We will stay here till everybody goes. Okay.
Demas, and I've been here now a little bit over almost 13 years. I'm in Van Buren Township. I'm kind of questioning, if this does go through, how are people protected from the noise and the debris of them building this monstrosity, and how long would it take for it to be built and operational?
The facility would probably be smaller than the current Ashley Capital one, which was a major production, which is over there on Haggerty Road. There's more square footage there. Building-wise, these are pretty much warehouses that are heavily insulated, which is good for the sound, but it's really good to keep air cooling on those computers. And but so you would have a standard construction site. I would hope that they would build that 15-foot berm and put those trees up before they started building the facility.
I was just kind of curious about, you know,
Yeah.
with any kind of construction, all the debris that gets kicked up and the noise, and what would the hours be of the trucks coming in and out to build this facility?
We have
and stuff?
regulations about that, and I'm not sure what they are, but you know, what are they, 7 or 8? I'm looking at 8? 7. They can't start before 7 in the morning, so, but, I know that's early, but, yeah.
And then the other question I have is definitely about the future of what the legacy of this town is going to be in 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, it's going to be toxic waste and data centers. I mean, is that really what you want as,
No, I don't think
you know,
you're gonna
going
see it.
forward? I mean,
Hopefully, there's never going to be another data center, and I'm hoping that this one doesn't happen either, but we're going to figure out something. You know, you can't write them out. I mean, it's illegal to zone somebody out of your community. So you got to provide them a position that they could be in. I'm going to tell you something. There was a data center that wanted to go where Stellantis is. That was legal. But the problem is the infrastructure costs would have been unholy hell. It would have been 10 or $20 million, and they wanted us to build that out for the right to have that data center. We wouldn't do it. There's no way. And they went away. And luckily, Stellantis came in because the biggest problem was we didn't have water. We didn't have enough water and sewer in that area. And Stellantis doesn't use water, doesn't use sewer. It's a parts depot. So that was a good thing. Otherwise, you would have had the first data center coming in there. But they weren't a hyper data center. But they were big, but they were not hyper.
I'll let the next person. Thank you.
Hello. Everyone. My name is Casey. My name is Casey Gomia. I live on E-Course in Morton Taylor. I just want to start by saying, Supervisor, earlier you called a data center a new animal, and I would just like us to be aware of the language we're using when we're speaking about the scenario that we're living through right now. There is actual life happening, you know, around where this data center is going to be placed. And I want us to prioritize that. And I feel like you all prioritize our lives as well. That's why you are in this position and running, you know, to represent us. That's what I would hope. I'd like to spend the rest of my time talking about what I love about Van Buren Township. I'm actually from Ohio. You can boo me now. And I came to school in Michigan, and my first introduction to the state of Michigan actually was from my friend Nick over here, who took me to the Metro Park. And I moved to Van Buren Township because I loved the green space. I loved the energy, the closeness of the community. And I'm sad to say that this is actually my first time speaking here or being at a meeting, but I'm also grateful for the opportunity to come and meet you all, talk with other folks who care just as much about our environment and our town. Recently, there was also a survey for like land use over on Belleville Road, and I know I heard a lot from people that they want to keep that green as well, and that we don't want any more congestion on Belleville Road. We have the fire station right down there, and I can tell you every single day picking my kids up from Tyler Elementary, going back home down Belleville Road, it gets congested. We're super lucky to live that close to the fire station, and also the times when we've needed to call for an ambulance, it's been a while due to those sort of situations. So I've noticed that on Haggerty Road, a lot of traffic has been redirected in that way. And the rest of my time, I want to talk about this eagle that we talked about, not the actual animal. My brother went to Edgemont last year. He was in 4th grade, and he's a special education classroom there. And one morning we were driving down Haggerty Road toward the Metro Park, and it was like the sun was still coming up. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning in the spring, and there was this large thing that I thought was a plane, and I looked up, and it was an eagle carrying the largest, like a branch of a tree, toward the direction of where you all are going to allow this thing to be zoned. So There's also other eagles that we have in living on the Huron River in the Metro Park. If we have any other birders here, you've seen them. You've seen their babies practicing and them teaching them to learn to fly. There are other families that we are not talking about who are not citizens who pay taxes. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Taylor Road, I can add that Van Buren's board has just approved $1.8 million matching grant with the Wayne County to pave Morton Taylor Road from Ecorse to Tyler Road, and that hopefully will happen next year. We just dropped our $900,000 check today, first payment. So.
Hi, my name is Ann Leichner and I live in Haggerty Sub. And I just basically have a question. I went on the BSA online website and found out that this property that Panattoni wants to build this data center on is not one piece of property, but 41 owned by Triple Creek Associates.
I don't know the name of the company. I know the man.
Yeah, so
Keeps on trying to get us to build different things.
Triple Creek Associates LLC. And I just have a question because there's 41 parcels of land. Not all of them are industrial. There are some that are commercial, some that are residential. So it's not all zoned industrial. So how are they going to get around that?
I'd have to call up my municipal services director for that answer since I am not a zoning expert.
But yeah, so if you look it up, it's all public knowledge. Triple Creek Associates. I was trying to find information on them online, but I haven't been too
Want him?
successful yet.
He can answer right now. If you want, he can answer right now.
So there's 41 parcels of land. You can see them all right there. And some of them are residential, some of them are commercial, some of them are industrial. So how are they going to build a data center on residential and commercial land?
The short answer is they're not going to build any of the data center buildings on any of the commercially zoned property. I'd have to look at our zoning map. I'm not sure if they're zoned residential, but we verified it. So there's 4 buildings proposed as part of the site development. One is a 30,000 square foot office building, which has no data center activities in it. That's going to be located in the C1 zoning district. All the remainders of the buildings are going to be in areas of the property that are zoned M1 light industrial, which allows these as a permitted use. And I can show you our zoning map if you want to come find it.
Awesome, thank you. And my other thing is...
And me.
My other question, or I guess that thing I want to say is this Panattoni, Adam Kramer, I believe, is the project manager. And I believe Panattoni itself has never built a data center before. This is going to be their first. So that's kind of concerning as it is. I believe he may have worked on another project for another company. But he was quoted in one of the articles about this that they didn't want to build where the community didn't want them. So contact them. You can find it easily online. And call them, email them, and let them know. We don't want them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zoe Gibson Vines, and while I am not a resident of Van Buren Township, I am a resident of Ypsilanti Township and have many friends and community members that live here. My concern that I think we've come to a couple of times is that y'all have shared that you're up against a wall, your hands are tied. There's nothing that you can do at this point. You've shared that it's going to the planning committee.
We're going through the process.
Yes, that the process has to happen. You've talked about that it's going in front of the planning committee next, correct?
Yes.
Were they voted in? Are they people that like we can speak in front of? Because what I've understood is that we're here and we're frustrated. We're scared. We're angry. This, and to be frank, will not just affect Van Buren Township, but everywhere around us. This is a Michigan issue, specifically Southeast Michigan, and it gets more specific from there. So how do we get in front of the planning committee?
So the planning commission, first of all, our planning commission is probably the most professional planning commissions that I know of. And that's because we send them away every year for training. We train the hell out of them. Most of them are certified master planners. I think you are. I think you are. You are. And they're not even on the board anymore. Some of them are. because we train the hell out of our people on this. Now, there is a public comment period, and our planning commission has a habit of not making decisions at one meeting. So in other words, they'll hear the whole thing out, they'll hear all your public comments, and then they're going to go back and sit down for 2 weeks and think about what they've done and what's happening, and they will come back and they'll hear public comment and they'll make the decision. So there will be at least 2 more public comments at that point.
Do you know when those are and where they are?
In January, we have informed the company that we will not hear it until February.
Okay. If we want to show up,
12th and 26th. Oh, sorry. It's in the, yeah.
not on the website.
Yeah.
Okay. If it gets to be towards the new year and I don't see it on the website, who do I contact to find that information?
Supervisor's office.
Supervisor.
Actually, you contact municipal services. They operate the planning department.
The other thing that I would like to add is I know that right now you've shared that we can't go back and change, the process has started. They're in the
illegal.
midst of that. We can't change those rules.
Yeah.
Let's say worst case scenario, this moves forward and they start to build and we are years into this and we start to see the negative effects. We've already seen that there are like major health concerns in Tennessee, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, where they have hyper data centers that are smaller than what this would be, and they have those issues. So what protections are there in place, or what would you put in place to make sure
Van Buren Township is becoming famous for entering into lawsuits against corporations that we believe are harming our citizens. And we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for the last couple of years doing that. And we are currently in about $400,000 with the U.S. Ecology, or whatever you want to call them now, the hazardous waste dump. We've been told by every lawyer out there that we're going to lose, and we've won the last 3 times, and we're going to keep on fighting. And that's the attitude we have here. If our residents are in danger and we have the science and we have the belief that it's happening, we don't care who tells us, we're going forward. We're spending it.
I appreciate that, because one of the things that we've seen in Pennsylvania and in Tennessee and in Ohio, where they have hyper data centers, is that the people, it's not just a loss of water pressure, it's no water pressure. It's not just my electricity bill went up, it's my electricity bill is more than my mortgage. It's not my child is sick, it's my child is dead. And I do not want to see that happen to us. And if you feel like your hands are tied, I would beg of you to look at the fact that laws have been broken before, and laws have to change. For example, most of the people sitting up there would not have the right to vote, the right to education, the right to own land, myself included, if laws did not change. And you have to push back. I beg of you, because if there isn't, you've said numerous times that you do not want this either, that there's no money exchanging hands. The only reason that you would let this happen to your community, if there was, and if there isn't, then fight. Because we clearly are, with what power we have, and we will use the power that we have. And I beg of you to do the same.
Hi, my name's Dave Harwood. I'm in the Haggerty sub as well. I keep a public and work hat, so I won't disclose the company that I work with just for that. But I work with project management contract negotiations on a daily basis. RFPs are unfortunately, my love language. I have multiple vendors throughout the nation as well as the state that I deal with. So I understand the NDA concept. The concern, though, that I think a lot of people have is the not disclosing from the very beginning that was a step that had to be taken to move forward with this. Signing an NDA with anything always is just a nasty look to anybody. It's always the disclosure of, okay, if they're hiding.
We do it a dozen times a year.
Understand. But it's when it's brand new to a space, it's something that's not like to this magnitude coming in. It definitely will put fear into a lot of people's eyes. If they're not willing to disclose their name, what aren't they willing to disclose? So that's a chief concern that a lot of people would have. Another thing to think of as well is that there was a lot of concerns in the open house that we had with language that they were using. The construction company itself seemed very headstrong in themselves that they have the right to do it, that there's nothing that we can really say to do it, that we should be grateful that there was a berm or trees put in, I think was the language that they used, is that we should be grateful for the things that they've adjusted. In addition as well, you know, for them to be able to tap into a power grid to pull that much power, as well as to water lines to pull in that much water. Those types of volumes are not known in this area. The only things that use that much water is bottling companies or power plants. As well, it's the fact that, you know, what they're using to cool these systems is not just tap water. There's no computer in the world that you're going to put tap water into water cool it. That's something I also build. If you do that, you'll kill it. They will add in things of additives. They will have things, biocides. They will have corrosion inhibitors. They'll have immersion fluids. You know, things that we like to call for PFAS. Those will be in there. They have to use those. That's what is used for a computer cooling system.
I can honestly say I asked that exact question, and they said no, that they didn't use those. Okay.
Well, then they're lying to your
Okay.
face. That's something I would absolutely have.
We asked about descalers and everything else.
And that's the thing too, is that it's you know, is the construction company giving you this information, or is it the company itself that will have the data center? That those are things that, to where even if they do use a biocide or things like that, or an inhibitor, that volume of water is a volume that no one sees with that much contaminant in there. We don't have a number or correlation or any kind of survey to show for that. These are things that, you know, again, it's new, exactly like you said. It's an animal that we're unfamiliar with. So to just be taking it to the face of just, yep, they've told us we're going to do this, and then hopefully it follows later, it's not enough information. We need to have hard data to prove that they can do the things that they say they do.
Write that. He's writing it down.
Hello, my name's Jake. I am going to keep it short and sweet. My number one concern is about my property value. It's inevitable that, I mean, honestly, it's going to go down if something like this went up, right? I live right there. It's going to go down. What is going to happen for me, right? Am I just going to get hit with that cost? Is there going to be some kind of... Where do you live? Where do I live? I live on Alden Road, right
So
across.
what cost?
Yeah. My property value? Oh. Yeah, that's my concern, right? Because if this goes up, I don't want to stay. I'm not going to want to see that. I don't want to deal with that. Nothing to do with that. So, if this does happen, what happens to me? Like, is there something? Because if I couldn't leave, like, is there any incentive? Like, what can I get? Is there something out there? Taxes changed? What? Or am I
Nope.
just hit with that cost?
We have tried to drive housing costs in Haggerty Sub for 10 years, and we've done a great job, I think. Where's Alden?
Sir.
Oh, Alden Road,
Yes, sir.
Edison Road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
I just want to make it, and again, I know you said earlier that
Okay. I'm not going to defend them, but I'm going to say this. They have an 850-foot setback from I-94, and they don't plan on hitting the trees. So I don't know that you're even going to, I don't know how you can see through that many trees.
They also said they were going to put additives in the water.
Yeah, well, we're gonna check on that. Well, actually, site plans are reviewable and are enforceable. So once they say that they're gonna leave trees there and where they're gonna put trees and how high the berms are gonna be, they have to be to the foot, or else we don't let them open.
It's not the only thing. Sound, same thought. I don't want to hear that all day. There's a lot of issues that come up with it.
If
right?
we could,
It's just part
if there's
of
a
it.
sound,
So,
sound
but-
issue, something we gotta look at.
Fair. Outside of that, I really want, because you said we can't change the past, we can look to the future, but then you said Stellantis went up and we took down barbed wires. That's going back into the past. This is a massive project we're putting up, and we're saying there's nothing we can do in future. Please be more cautious about what we're doing. Also, I've been keeping up on these comments online because I know everyone in here has a voice. There's other people that have talked that want to talk again. I really want to keep this going because I want to hear everyone's voice, including the people online that can't be here today, who said they still can't hear and are also commenting, making all these things. So I just want to make sure everyone's voices are being heard today.
Hi there, my name's Seth. I also live in the Haggerty subdivision with a lot of my neighbors here. Earlier, you mentioned one way that we might be able to stop the project is by conducting some kind of engineering survey to find out if there's sound being produced by the facility or other adverse health effects. I guess my question is, who's conducting the engineering survey, and is that data going to be made available to the public, or how do we know that it's good enough? Because this is a $1 billion AI data center company. They're going to come with the best scientists, the best engineers that money can buy and tell us that there's going to be no adverse effects. So how can we be confident that our engineering survey is going to serve the interests of our community?
Van Buren Township wants to be a premier community. And what we went out and did was we hired the most expensive engineers probably in the state of Michigan. And they are Van Buren's engineers, Fishbeck. Fishbeck is going to be the engineers that are going to go with us. They've offered to take us to these places. They've offered to schedule all these things for us, and we're not doing that. We're going to go when we want to go. We're going to go at our own thing, and we're going to spend the night there because I'm more worried about nighttime because with I-94 and 275, I can't imagine. I mean, you hear that more than anything else. We are going to take our own decibel readings, and if we have decibel readings from our engineers that say it's over 67 dP, that's the end.
Will that survey be made available to the public?
Hide anything here.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah, no, okay.
Good evening. My name is Roberta Baldwin. I have lived in Van Buren Township all but 10 years of my life, and that's 60 years, so I've seen a lot of changes. I live on Alden Road across from the freeway. I remember when that whole area was all farmland except for the wetlands that were within it. You say that it's been for sale for 20 years. I haven't
America
seen
Park.
any signs up over there for them trying to sell it.
That guy wants so much money for it, and he just keeps on bringing more and more horrible ideas on what he could build there. And he's
I
finally.
wouldn't
yeah.
mind, and I'm not sure about anybody else here, but I wouldn't mind more houses going in on the perimeters of that rather than being industrial. There used to be houses there 60 years ago before
would-
275 went in.
I
And
would
then they
far rather
moved
have it.
those houses. And exactly, I think one resident was still there 3 years ago because he had a contract with him that it was until he died that he could live in his house. So he was still living there in his house. So that was all residential in that area. Why did we change it to industrial? And why can they come in and change what's already wetlands, even though they're going to redo some ponds and stuff? Why can they change wetlands? This guy, when he bought it, he knew it was wetlands. So why, just because the prices of all the housings, because of the economy?
Okay, so as far as the zoning character, the last person mentioned there might have been residential there, but where they're building is not the residential area from what I just heard.
Well, it might not be now, but I'm saying
I'd love to have
60 years ago.
I think we'd all love to have residential there.
I'd rather have
Okay,
it there.
but,
I listen to the airport, and they say, oh, the noise sound in that. And I can hear the vibrations from what used to be Mastercraft. I don't know the name of the building now, but it used to be Mastercraft in DeVilbiss. They're on the, we get a boom every once in a while in our house from that facility. That's at Hannon Road and the service drive. I don't want to have the vibration. I don't want to have the noise. I don't want to have the light pollution. If you stand in our house to look up at the stars anymore, you see the city lights from...
Again, light pollution is a deniable reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they say it's not going to be, but how do you fight that when it's built and then you see the light pollution?
We'd actually take out the lights. We'd have the right to take out the lights.
Okay.
The same way we would have the right to shut down equipment that was over the DB 67.
I'm not opposed to change. The world goes on, life goes on. But I think the United States is not ready for these data centers. They're not ready for AI, and that's why the shove is on right now, because they know that what they're doing is wrong, and they can't, nobody's got the legislation in place to stop them. So we need to be proactive and get the legislation down
before they do this. I mean, I
This-
think we're a little
this-
late, but I still think, like the one person said, that I think there's still a loophole in there because it's not rated for a mega data center. It's a data center.
You do need to change the laws. They've made these things legal. They have given them tax incentives to drive them to Michigan, and they are coming because of those reasons.
Tax incentives.
Laws and
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
changed it. They want them here, and that's why they've done that. And so that's why we're getting them.
Oh, we need to, yes, well,
State
I
of
think
Michigan.
Governor Whitmer's one of them, I think, that's behind it. So who do we contact? Our representatives, our senators, our congressmen, who do we contact?
You can contact them, yes. I
All
don't know
right.
that they can do anything about it because they all voted for it, Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, well, we voted for them, so
Okay.
look out, we're coming for you.
They also did vote that residents can't, again, the words, for making up electric bills. Subsidized, thank you. Yeah,
But,
so.
I mean, that doesn't help yet. If something goes haywire, and then all of a sudden, great big
Yeah.
lines need to be replaced, then we foot the bill. You know, I just,
I hope not.
yeah, well, I hope not either, but we always hope and then it happens. So, thank you.
Hi there, my name is Heather. This is my first time attending any type of township meeting. I just basically have more of a statement and kind of begging in a sense. You had mentioned the legality of everything and how, you know, your hands may be tied because of zoning or, you know, the warehouse and the data center is considered a warehouse. And, you know, I do understand all that, but I understand the legality, but I just want to ask you about humanity. We are already being attacked on every angle, whether it be our soil, our air, our water, microplastics. If this goes up, we're not going to stand a chance. And, you know, I mean, I can look at most of you up here, and I don't mean this as an insult because I'm up there in age too, but we're not going to be here. And I'm really concerned for our future generations. I just feel like they're not going to have a chance. Their health is going to be shot. And then what do we have then? So I just beg you, please do everything that you can to shut this down. Thank you for hearing me.
This is your last time up.
I have a question. Who appoints the zoning board members?
They're appointed by this board.
Appointed by, so,
Most of them are longstanding. Some of them have been here longer than we've been around.
so would that be Aaron Sellers, the chair, Amos Grissett, vice chair, John Herman, John Hassey, Kevin Martin?
It's a BZA.
Okay,
Zoning
so,
bill.
and the reason why I'm asking that is that it was a lot of mention of a money trail. And you guys said, no, that's not true with you, and I don't have any reason to doubt that may be true. But maybe you need to look into your board members that was appointed. Because this is not adding up.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say, what'd you say? You said a mention of what? You said there was a mention of what?
I said there was a mention from several people here in the audience that there is a money trail. You guys said you're not on that money train.
You know, that's always said.
Had no reason to dispute that you are not on the money train. But so perhaps the board members that are appointed on the zoning board, perhaps you need to investigate them.
You know,
I absolutely believe in that group. They're well-trained. You know what? I'm going to stick up for them. They're smart, hardworking people. Yeah.
I have two comments.
Yes.
One question. What happened to the little countryville of Belleville, Van Buren Township? That's why we moved here.
A little what? The country what?
The little country town that we moved to have our kids safe and be able to play and go to school without having issues, like guns in the schools, which are starting to happen now because you guys keep building and building and building. Also, my other comment is,
Subdivisions trying to come into Van Buren Township, and we will not let them build unless they build what we want, which is quality homes.
want it though.
We
So
won't let
does
them
that
in.
matter?
That's why
Does
they're
that
not coming
matter?
in. They're zoned residential, they can come in, but they have to meet our zoning ordinances, and they want to take shortcuts. So we don't let them in.
You're talking political. I want to answer. Does it matter that we do not want it? Yes or no?
It matters. Of course it does.
Okay, then listen to us. It's not too late. Number two, you talk about tons of money that you've done to do this, that, and the other thing. Stop this now. That's all I have to say.
Boy, I'm sure you're not happy I'm up here.
No, I don't mind.
I just want to know, do we have to fill every single empty space of land in this township? Like, can we not have some green space around us anywhere for, I mean, I live in Haggerty Sub my whole entire life. I've never had more skunks, possums, raccoons, deer. I have deer peeking in my windows. I mean, they have nowhere to go. Do we have to fill every single empty space just because it's zoned a certain zone? Can we just leave something green?
Property developers buy property and look for people to sell it to. And unfortunately, people love Van Buren Township and want to move here.
This board say no to nothing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This board actually didn't want trucking on Tyler Road between Belleville and Beck Road. There was trucking coming. There was car dealerships with 200. They wanted almost 50 acres for a parking lot with a car inspection station, more trucking. So this board went to Ford and bought that property to keep that from happening. And so that's what we own. We're going to develop part of it, but the rest of it's going to be wetlands. The 440 acres, the other square mile up there, we went to the state of Michigan, and we got the state of Michigan to buy it, give it to Aerotropolis, where this board actually controls that 440 acres, because we're not going to let just anybody come in here. We're trying to slow the development down and try and bring things in that people want.
We look at things that have already happened, like all the warehouses up and down Ecorse Road, that a majority of them are empty. Then they turn around and they build more warehouses across the street from L&W, where we just got Haggerty Road fixed to drive on, where we're not looking like drunks driving down it.
Companies, I walked up and down that street and got those companies to donate $1 million to rebuild Haggerty Road because we didn't have enough money to do it.
But what's going to happen to it now? We got more warehouses across the street. These trucks are still coming in and out. I thought...
That's our industrial zone, and those property developers bought that property to resell it, and they've been selling it.
Haggerty Road is going to end up the way that it was before we just got it fixed, and we're going to be right back where we started from. It's a never-ending cycle. But I'm just saying, can we just leave some things green? Can we just leave something green around here?
We're trying.
Everywhere I look, there's a new for sale sign going up on a corner.
We're going to finish this up. The last 2 or 3 people that want to come up, if they could come and stand in the line there, and then we can finish it up. Okay?
If the township bought that property across the street from Ford, why can't we buy that Hannon Road, Haggerty Road, and leave it be?
You mean the site where the data center is? Because it's a massively different amount of money. Yeah. So.
How much is he selling it for?
Actually, I called a real estate developer to find out, because the number they wanted 5 years ago, we couldn't afford. I don't know what it is going now.
Then we need to, even maybe as a community, Green Bay bought the Packers, why can't we buy property?
You mean like a special assessment district where Haggerty and Alden buy all that property? You know what? I will ask, okay? Okay, write it down. I will ask and I will get numbers on what that will cost, okay? I don't, you're gonna get there, but. All right, last speaker, Ashley.
So I was sitting here reflecting, and I love how much the community is saying, like, we don't want this. We want our health. We want to embrace a community where we all feel that we get to enjoy a little bit of nature and also have the benefit of being in a suburb or being around each other, right?
Mhm.
Like, that's why we moved here, outside of us not being able to afford the other homes, right? And having property, like many of us that are younger or in my age group. But what I noticed you said was that with the Stellantis, that they were gonna build a data center there beforehand, right? How many years ago was that? Like,
2.
that was 2 years ago that you knew about that, right? And I'm not saying the hyper ones were there, but like,
We just thought it was a data center, but it's still a lot of infrastructure they would have needed to get out there.
okay, so that kind of reiterates that if your understanding or interpretation of the word data center was much like us when we went in October of last year, when they said, oh, you want an administrative building, like a data center, right?
Mhm.
So they kind of use like this false pretense of what you assumed as a data center, what we assumed, until everybody went, clicking on Google and went, oh no, that's not the same interpretation. So they kind of misled you just as much as they misled us if you knew a data center was to be, a group of computers, right? And so like maybe that's the argument. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I need an attorney all the time. So like, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, if you really, really want to center community, and y'all really want to be a part of this, then work with us. Don't wait 2 years till they've been already pulling permits with Eagle or been applying.
Yeah, okay.
But you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Don't wait. Just be like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but like, we need to come together and figure this out because there's a lot of brilliant people in our community that we could have presented this to you years ago, months ago. Like, all we had to do was, Google Detective. Like, we got this and we're here to help each other out, but we don't get asked that until, the shit's hitting the fan. That's all I'm saying. Come to us. That's all.
I mean, we did write down the comments. We will look into all of those things. We will have a frequently asked questions on our website that will cover almost everything that was discussed today. And obviously, we're going to have some answers on some things, and some of them will be maybe life-changing, and some of them may not be very happy, but you'll get whatever we get, unfiltered. Does anybody on the board wish to make comments since it's your turn?
Ending comment. I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And just remember, I know politicians, there's certain people in the world that's hated. One of them happened to be, that falls in that group is a politician. I understand that, but I've been the clerk for 17 years, and I haven't worked with a better group of people on the board than I work with now. Like the supervisor say, ma'am, I'm gonna respect you, respect me. It's like the supervisor say, we don't all agree all the time, but one thing I can tell you, that we open. Everything we know, we would do our due diligence. We listen to you, and if there's loophole, we're gonna do our due diligence to entertain them. But like I said earlier, we will not violate a law to entertain a loophole. I've lived in this community 31 years, and you guys got to forget it. Everybody here, we live here too. I've raised kids here, like you're raising kids here. I just had a granddaughter born. And ma'am, some of you might not understand that, but we all have the same interests that you have in this community. I live closer to the current data center than most of you sitting in this building, in this room. I live right across the street in Andover Farms, been living there for 31 years. I can hear cars, if a car go out and coming out the data center, I can hear it. I don't hear any noise, but I live closer than the majority of you sitting here. So I understand what you're saying, and we will entertain every avenue that we can. I'm not a big supporter of any business that come in, but I will follow the law to make sure their rights are entertained, just like I will follow the law to make sure your right is entertained. But we will do our due diligence. Thanks for coming.
Anybody else? No. No, you can ask me afterwards. Anybody other questions? Okay, hearing no further questions, I need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Support. All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. I will if you want to.